Well, it's here. Sega has released the Sega Genesis Mini 2. I was able to get one, and it is very small. I mean, look at this thing. I mean, look at that. I mean, there's my hand. It's gigantic. And here it is compared to the Sega Genesis Mini 1. Put that back there. Look at that. Look at that tiny box. Now, looking at it here, it comes with 60 games preloaded on it. This one actually comes with some Sega CD games, but one thing I do not like right away is it only comes with one wired 6-button controller. This has Street Fighter 2 on it. Look, right there, Street Fighter 2. How are you supposed to play Street Fighter 2 with only one 6-button controller? Now, obviously, I could play it by myself, but, you know, if I have company over, well, I only have one controller to play it with, and I guess I could use one of the ones from the Sega Genesis Mini 1, but that's only a 3-button controller. So, yeah. Anyway, there's your list of games, and I'm going to leave that up for just a second, but then we're going to go ahead and crack it open, and we're going to hook it up, and we're going to take a look. So, yeah. Get excited, everybody. Okay, and here it is, the Sega Genesis Mini 2. You can see just how small it is based on the Sega Genesis 2 console. There it is. You got your power switch, 2 USBs in the front, got your power and HDMI in the back, still use micro USB. And I know because people would ask for it, here is the Sega Genesis Mini 1. So you can see that, very similar, Sega Genesis Model 1. There's your size comparison. Not bad. It's, you know, I think the sizes are pretty comparable for what the originals are. Unfortunately, I only have a Genesis Model 2 myself. I don't have a Genesis Model 1 to compare it to or anything like that. But I think this does a pretty good job of showing you what the difference is. But I've got all the cables all set up, so we're going to go ahead and connect it to my monitor, and we're going to take a look at the interface. So, without further ado, let's get started. So there it is. There's your list of games. You can have them sorted however you like. Out of the box, it's A to Z. That's how I like it. Down in the lower right corner, you can see how many players and what genre it is, and then hitting the X button will take you to the menu system. Here's our menu system, so you can actually go in here and you can change the language. You can also go under game settings and you can adjust whether you want the regular aspect ratio or full screen. You can also choose if you want to put on the CRT filter. And then under sound settings, you can actually adjust whether or not you want to use the sound chip from the Genesis 2 or the Genesis 1. Why don't we take a listen? Okay, and now that we've gone through all of the boring stuff, let's go ahead and take a look at some of the games. And we're going to start completely randomly and pick, I don't know, Sonic CD. Alright, so here we go, Sonic CD. Now as you can see, it did give me the option of choosing the UK or the US version of the game, which I imagine is probably just a soundtrack difference, but unfortunately I forgot to check it while I was doing the video. That said, the US version seems to be the Sega CD version as advertised. I was half expecting to get the PC version as we've gotten in other re-releases of this game. How I know that it's a Sega CD version is because during the intro animation, it's a very compressed, and there is a certain amount of charm to it seeing it like that. It's very nostalgic to me because I was very young when the game came out on Sega CD, and I did very much enjoy it, so seeing it now really does make me feel very nostalgic for when I played this game as a kid. So why don't you go ahead and take a look, and then I'll play through the first level, and we can form some opinions after we've played a few games.
Gotta keep it going. Sonic boom, sonic boom, sonic boom. Keeps you running fast. Sonic boom, if you're strong, you can fly. You can reach the other side of the rainbow. It's alright, take a chance, 'cause there is no circumstance that you can't handle when you use your mind. Sonic boom, sonic boom, sonic boom keeps you running fast. Sonic boom.
So what do I think about the games? Well, I can't be 100% certain, of course, but the games do feel a little unresponsive. They felt like there was some input lag making them feel slightly off. The games I picked here are games that I've played on other platforms, and maybe it's me, but they feel ever so slightly off. The special stages in Sonic CD in particular feel sluggish, but perfectly playable as you can see, as I was able to get through it without a problem. The games themselves look and sound great. Final Fight CD in particular sounds phenomenal and made the game feel that much more immersive. Truth be told, I am not really familiar with a lot of the games here, but it is nice to see some more expensive Sega games from this era, such as Crusader of Senti, get a nice home release for people such as myself that grew up with the console, but back then you really only got 1 or 2 games a year. I am a little sad we didn't get any games from Working Designs. I really wanted to try Pop Full Mail without having to shell out $800 for a copy. But, such is life. Because of the weird way Sega decided to sell this, it cost me about $130. Is it worth it? Well, if you're really into retro games, I would say so. Now, you could easily sit there and tell me, well, why not save the money and just emulate them? That's true, and I wouldn't fault anybody for doing that. But, one of the benefits of getting these mini retro consoles is that you have a pre-selected group of games to pick from. This both limits and broadens your selection. Let me explain. It limits you to 60 games while broadening what genres you have to choose from. In other words, you might find something you want to play that you didn't know you wanted to play. Does that make sense? At the end of the day, you already know if you're going to get this or not. Now, would I recommend this to a random person? Well, like my Ghostbusters Spirits Unleashed video, I probably wouldn't recommend it unless you're a die-hard retro fan. Look up the list of games, emulate them, and save your money. Now, before we go, check out this beautiful game footage. Thank you very much for watching. If you made it all this way, well, I thank you. I really appreciate your time, and if you enjoyed the video, feel free to leave a like, comment, or subscribe. Or don't. Either way, I'll see you next game.